The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man Bill. The old man builds. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality restricted from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Nathan, otherwise known as Old Man Bills. Guys, we got Eric Dollard on the schedule for today, man. Really cool stuff. This ties right into what we were talking about with all kinds of geometry and understanding of harmonics and things like that. Also a very cool story when it comes to how he saw it, and it goes into the moon and how planets align and things like that. Really awesome story. So I'm going to go ahead and get that ready to go, and we'll check in with everybody, and then we'll start playing it. So what's going on, guys? All right.
When they learned how to play two.
All right, real quick before I play this, guys, I just real quick, right here is a podcast channel. Every morning I go on and do a podcast. So if you're interested in that and you want to hear me talk about certain subjects, I go on there and do a new subject every day. Also have an Esty shop if you're interested in Tesla coil, any cap banks or anything like that, ZBSs. Go on there and check it out. Also t-shirts. I got my Old Man Builds t-shirt right there, man. So yeah, I just want to give that a heads up. All right, let's play this.
It started with the Italians in what's called polyphonic music, when they learned how to play two or more notes simultaneously.
When was that?
That started in about the 1500s.
1500?
Yeah, the Italians were the ones that did most of this with an Italian priest named Antonio Vivaldi.
Vivaldi?
Yeah, was the one that really pushed all before, but all of the Italian musicians, particularly Frescobaldi and Gabrielli are two of them that developed the initial polyphonic music. And then Bach became the master of it. And then Handel was the great popularizer of it. So you Handel, Bach, Vivaldi, Gabrielli, and what was the other one? Gabrielli and Frescobaldi. Martin Luther was the beginning. He wrote the initial pieces of music.
For the organ of the church.
Well, the initial, there was still the Pythagorean modal music.
So all this comes from Pythagoras.
Yeah, all comes from Pythagoras.
Modal music, you call it.
Yeah, it's the only pieces of it remain. It's called major and minor.
Major and minor?
Yeah, well, those are all part of what are called church modes.
Church modes.
Yeah, those are extensions from the original Pythagorean system, and they had the distortion factors. Bach finally distorted the whole thing and erased it and made it a pure logarithm. So music from that point on always sounded harsh. But that's the only way he could play in all keys. Otherwise, you had to retune the organ for every key you played. See, the voice didn't matter with the voice because you could move the frequency everywhere. or a stringed instrument, but the organ is the first digital device. It's an analog computer, but it's a digital keyboard. So now you're stuck to discrete frequencies. So every key you have to retune the organ. The pipe organ is one of the oldest. And with all the stops and the pipes, it's an analog computer of incredible complexity. It's a waveform synthesizer.
And the organ's a waveform.
Yeah, they can't make them anymore. And the old ones are all the metal fatigue and everything. They're all rotten. It's all gone now.
They can't make them anymore?
They don't know how to make any of that stuff.
Are you serious?
It's too complicated. They couldn't do it. None of that can be duplicated. That was made by masters. They just did it all in their head. The guy that made organs with 20,000 pipes, you know how he measured the spectrum? He went into the church and took a stick and threw it on the ground and listened to the echoes, let that cook in his head, and build a 15,000 pipe organ out of it that resonated with the church. And there was no insurance back then. If you fucked up, your head got fed to the fish.
But no pressure, right?
It just simply worked. It wasn't even a question whether it was going to work, because if it didn't, you died.
So these masters that made the organ, that was it.
Silbermann made most of the great organs in Germany.
So who?
Silbermann.
Silver.
Yeah. And then I don't know who made. France had their own brand. France made some incredible sounding organs, but they sounded different than the German organs. And then the English, had their organs and all that, and all of them are resonant. They're analog computers. You build waveforms by adding harmonics. You can make any kind of waveform you want. And the physical feeling of being in the churches when these things are running in full power is beyond description.
Really?
Particularly when all the planets are lined up.
Wow.
Scares the organists. The whole church sounds like it's going to come apart. The organists start to lose control. The whole thing gets wrapped up into the cosmic event.
This is the ultimate
just
rave
goes-
party.
And just goes wild. And it leaves the audience in complete shock. Thousands of people just like stunned in shock. They had a grand organ concert at Grace Cathedral in San Francisco right during the planetary alignment. That church was smart. They played that whole solar cycle, and they did a series of 12 organ concerts. Half of the music was Bach. And it got nearer and nearer the planetary alignment. The performances started becoming more and more stunning, and larger quantities of people started showing up. So finally, the last one, there's only one seat to sit in the whole church where all the phases line up. We'd always get those seats beforehand, hours beforehand, and make sure they were reserved.
Your family?
No, me and David.
Oh, here?
Yeah, in San Francisco, David Franklin.
So they had an
We were doing that whole Sonoma State study, and the organ concert series was in that exact sync with the solar flares. And you had, of course, you were there at every one of those concerts, and they just lit that church up. We'd spend days preparing for these events, hiking around in the woods and just like living on fruits and vegetables. You had to take at least a 10-mile hike before the organ concert, and then get there at the top of that mountain. And then there's a couple other things you do, and you have your seats are all arranged right where all four organs, pipe organs, cross. In the cross of the church itself, they're all built like giant crosses, and they have four organs in them. They have the forward and reflected organs, the giant ones in front and back, and then they got the side organs, and there's two seats on either side of the aisle in the middle, and you get those seats, all the waves add up in that spot, and it produces, you go out of your body. You just go out during the concert, you just go out of your body. You're not even in normal world anymore. The whole thing just completely overwhelms you. And you can actually see the music and the whole, but just in that one spot. So the grand concert, the church was too crowded, so they had to put everybody out in the main thing. But the organ concert built up so much power that the whole church went, right after the concert ended, the whole church went silent. There wasn't any applause, and the organists were like frozen, staring like with weird looks on their face at their keyboards. It's the whole place just like went dead. It was quiet. No one was clapping or anything. And then all of a sudden, all 1,000 people jumped up for a simultaneous standing ovation, like the church had never seen. It just blew everybody away.
How long was that standing ovation?
It was the concert went on for about 2 hours.
Wow.
It built with like one of Bach's most famous organ works, the horror movie one.
Toccata and fugue.
D minor. Yeah,
Oh!
he wrote that when he was 18 years old. But I don't like that. It's juvenile and it's too dark and whatever. But these guys and the church and the alignment and the whole thing gave it a rendition of that piece of music that just wiped everybody out, including them. They lost control of the whole resonance. The building literally felt like it was going to fly apart. There was no concept of space or time anymore. You got wrapped up into this Bach cosmic cycle, and it just kept working you phase after phase, and it got deeper and faster, and the voltage higher and higher, and it just wiped everybody out, wiped the whole audience and the organists out. And it was stunning because when you walked in, all the planets and the moon and the sun and everything were all lined up. And this thing started at sunset.
So 1980.
1980, October 13th, 1980.
13th, 1980.
Yeah.
And it was on top of a hill.
In San Francisco, Grace Cathedral is a duplicated cathedral. It's a 7,200 pipe organ driven by like a 25 horsepower blower.
Wow. So those organs, you can put each one in a place.
You add all the harmonics in space and time, and you can make pressure, you can make entities in that church. The church is built like an Alexanderson antenna. The columns are all loaded, and you have standing wave organs pointed at each other.
Sorry, I got to pause it right here, guys. Just notice the scenery that goes on in the background of the stained glass that they have going on, and everything they show you in the cinematics. And also watch when he starts talking about the speakers and stuff like that, how there has to be two, not just one.
So you can maneuver these harmonics around in the space and position them. And they have like littler harmonics. They're like ball bearings, like those pictures of atoms. And you build these things in the space. And if you're sitting in one of those zones, you know, if you put an altimeter in there, like my altimeter, the thing will go wild. The pointer will just start dancing around. There's intense, like low pressure and high pressure centers, and they coalesce like a giant molecular structure in the church. Wow. And the master organist and the organ builder knows how to control all those things. So the organ is part of the church, and the whole thing turns into a giant analog waveform generator. And then the music of Bach is designed to magnify that. On top of it, creates a backwards time cycle. The music actually starts and ends at both ends. That's the problem with it. No one knows how he did it.
Bach.
Yeah, there is no end or beginning. The end is the beginning. The beginning is like Steinmetz's equations. They go backwards and forwards in time and make things happen in between.
That's cool.
So
Bach could use these alternating current cycles to work this stuff and just build these energies.
Bach was AC.
Well, it's time. It's all time-based. He knew how to make music go backwards in time and forwards in time and fit together. He wrote a 20-piece organ piece just before he died. That's the one that I studied at Boletus because I had the Marconi building as my own cathedral. This all happened during the alignment. And I had giant stereo, and I studied that music for hours and days. It took months of listening to it to finally get the picture. It was enough to knock you out of your chair, particularly in that building. Philo would come out there, and he would just stand there frozen with tears in his eyes and just completely frozen by the sounds. In the space. And we used to bring him out there to heal him with it because he was all screwed up on drugs and booze and psychosis and the whole thing. So we bring him out there and fire the whole, sound system up in the Marconi building, get him all high on vegetable juice and the whole thing. And it would just go through his body and just all of a sudden, he would just freeze. It would be rejuvenated.
It works.
Yeah, I used to deliberately sit between the speakers. And friends of mine that had back problems, I convinced them to sit between the speakers and let the stuff pass through your body, and it regenerates your body. You have to sit in between the speakers, just like being in between all those organs in the church.
Like a multi-wave oscillator.
It's a mechanical thing. It's kind of like ultrasonics.
Mechanical, just the air pressure.
Yeah, the vibration.
So the vibrations of the air hitting.
Well, and your body. When the sound waves go through your body, they move your body. and you're in a standing wave zone in between speakers, just like you're standing in between the organs of the church, and there's these zones, and they move around. They make things fly off the bench.
Anti-gravitic.
Well, it creates a vortex, and it throws things from the surface. The waves in the bench move around. They throw things into the surface.
So you're sitting in there in that church, and you feel a current in the room.
You feel this stuff moving through your body like you're invisible.
Like the ether. It's actually moving.
Solid stuff. You can actually, when your mind is trained and you're tuned into the whole thing, most people wouldn't even get this.
Yeah, you're an extreme sensitive.
Yeah, we prepared days for this stuff. Days, sometimes weeks, to get ready to be at that level for the full voltage.
Wow. Wow.
And then they're at the spot, and you just close your eyes and go into another universe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds.
You're just like gone. And then you're so high from it afterwards, you walk the full 30 miles back to Bolitas and end up there the next morning. Because it's a planetary alignment, total planetary alignment or whatever, there's always a full moon.
It make you stronger, that experience? Like physically, you feel just rejuvenated, healed, strengthened? Or?
I don't know. I mean, it's just fun,
I experienced.
No idea. Of course you feel good. That's why you walk all 30 miles back to Bolitas.
Oh, man. That was cool. Man, that was just cool. Think about what he's trying to tell you there, man. String theory's got it. They have a fundamental principle in all of this. And you just saw it from Dollard himself. He's talking about the church pipe organ and things like that. Man. By the way, I'm going to plug this channel here, guys, because that was some good information, and he has a bunch more stuff like it. So here we go. Occult Musical Sciences, Sounds Healing. This right here is the channel and the interview that was just played. So you guys could check out the channel and the other stuff on it. It's right here in the chat. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for this. And I think science is good to look at this kind of stuff. I mean, let's just put it this way. Dollar's probably the greatest electrician ever. He understands just about everything about it. I think he takes too much out of systems to make them balanced, but that's just me. But I won't take away any credit from that man ever. So if he's telling you stuff like this, space, time, things like this, then you got to take a listen, man. You got to listen to the pipe organs. There's a reason they're on all the church. There's a reason that all the stained glass looks like it has the same shapes he was showing on there on the screen. It's the reason that we tune things old school, never to new school stuff. What you saw the wave in the beginning when they saw it go around, had distortion in it, and then the other one was perfectly clean. Well, yeah, the master tuners knew exactly how to do that. That's one of the most important things right there. Pull out the distortion, get your ratios in there, and get your, everything that you can use from the sound and music and stuff like that. And then you had composers that was out there able to play this stuff that made it go into a circle. That was so fascinating. Like, it was forwards and backwards at the same time. I mean, you have to write it one way and write it right back the other way in order for it to be forwards. It's just mind blowing. Okay. I wouldn't even think to do that. Who would? I mean, yeah, by the way, I don't know that it said it in this one. I thought it did. Maybe I watched another one. He was talking about the speakers and stuff like that and sound and healing. And he had always said, because you mentioned the MWO machine, you have to have two speakers. What you're trying to get out of it is a spot in between of it because you need the beat frequency. That's exactly how MWO machine works. You have two coils in there. You're putting out scalar waves and you're trying to get a beat frequency between the two. They're offset frequencies. So they're harmonic of each other, but you're trying to get the beat frequency between them. That's the point. They're not supposed to be the same. So when people talk about resonance, make sure you're talking about two frequencies, not just one. And when he talks about, and I think it's another video about the speakers, and you have to use two. Well, that's exactly why you have to have two. That's why when we look at cymatics and we look at the one speaker and it's resonating the table, and you see the sand come out, you need a second speaker on top of that in order to see it correctly, because you're missing part of it. You're only getting one frequency. When they resonate, they actually change frequency. I didn't know if anybody knew that. If you did Tesla coils, you knew it. Tesla coils changes frequency. It'll actually drop the frequency when two things start to resonate. They'll come together and drop the frequency. So when you get into that form of cymatics or something, you're looking at the same thing. Two speakers in order to drop the frequencies to the correct one. So your input frequency isn't always the frequency that's coming out. That's kind of a thing you have to keep and understand and do the math to figure out what's going on if you want that exact frequency, because in resonance, they'll drop a bit. So interesting, man. You got some of the greats working on this stuff, and we don't even realize. I mean, look, we don't even realize it, man. He's giving conferences on how to do math and electrical systems, and we're not realizing this at all. I think it was another video I watched, because he talked about the integratron too. Yeah, it was another video. He had talked about the integratron and what he had to do to get it work. And this is why I said my comment earlier, there's nothing to take away from the master electrician that he is. The unfortunate thing is sometimes he takes out a little too much to make the thing work. And what I mean by that is, if your Tesla coil doesn't have a choke on it, he'll put a choke on it in order for it not to resonate with everything in the room. But that's kind of the point sometimes that you have. So if you're in the integratron and the center of it's a Tesla coil, and you want it to resonate with everything in the room, that includes you when you walk through it. You cannot have it choked. You cannot put the choke in there. And he did it so that people around the facility and everywhere else wouldn't have their computers messed up. But that, sometimes I think that's a critical error. And it's because he's trying to get a system to be mechanically perfect, which he did. I won't question that. But is it perfect for what you were trying to do? That difference in building styles and understanding. He says the rest of us are well, I'll just say that we're not very smart, is what he says, when we don't do that. But there's a reason for it. There's a reason to do some things differently in there. He said he had to gut the place and redo it. Yeah, choke is a safety net. You're absolutely right. You could put them in things. Don't get me wrong. My ZVS has two of them. And they restrict the frequency to the one that I put out, which is perfect for that. But that's why I build a slayer so that it can resonate with everything. And there's reasons for each circuit to work the way they do. Other than that, man, 100% one of the best electricians I've ever seen. Every time I watch him, and he comes out with videos and math, and I won't argue with him, man. That's exactly how you want to do it. But we're into something different here. We're into the fringe of the theory. You know what I mean? We're in the fringe of the theory. We're not in the build it exactly like they build it kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah. When he builds his Tesla coil, I just want everybody to know this. When he builds his Tesla coil, he's building it accurate to the way Tesla made it, not the way we build Tesla coils. We build a coil that's an Odin coil. We don't build a Tesla coil. And because of that, you cannot look at the patents for Tesla for it. It's not in there. There is not one Odin coil in Tesla's thing at all. Not one. Not one. All of his pertain to his style of coil, which is completely different. Okay. And it does something different. It works at a higher frequency by putting less windings in there and less compression between the windings. It's on a different level of the way it works. One of the things I did not like is when he did his experiment on the Colorado experiment, and it's the grounding part. He put in a coil in there in order to simulate the ground. I didn't like that. I would rather him just put it directly into the ground. Yeah, you say, well, what's the difference? Well, because the ground has energy in it and has its own property to it. And that's something that you have to take into account, especially if you're in Colorado Springs and you're sitting on a big pile of granite and you're trying to get into the water reservoir underneath it. You know what I mean? You're going to need to talk about the grounding correctly, because that's going to be a big part of your system. You don't want to bypass that in any way. But that's just a builder's thing. I mean, I think it was it's a better way to do it the way Tesla actually did it. That was one of the things he took liberty on. But when I do it with the coil that we use with the Odin coil, it actually produces a result that's much different because their compression value is different between each coil. It's more like an antenna, the way that he does these things on his coil, so you can ramp up the energy in them and not worry about it, where it's a bit harder in the ones we use. So just so everybody understands that, you wouldn't even recognize them probably. So if you saw them, you think, oh my God, that's not a Tesla coil. What is that? No, it's the original Tesla coil. This is, by the way, in researching this is why it's so hard when people quote Tesla on everything that has to do with the coil that we use, because it's not relevant to the coil that we use. I mean, I don't know that a lot of people understand that. I pulled every patent that Tesla ever had, and I looked for this coil, and there was not one of them in it. Now, the style that he builds that you see in the big pictures and stuff, you know what I mean, with the spacing in between, it has, beautiful big look and things like that, and it's got a winding right under it as the number one. That's absolutely his style. That's what he was using. We are not using that. Completely different style, completely different thing. It came from the origination of Tesla when he did his bipolar coil. That was the only thing I did find on Tesla in there that matched something like this. But that works on the north and south, so you don't need a ground in it. So both sides push out energy. It's a bit of a different system altogether. This one that we're dealing with pulls energy from the ground in order to work properly. You have to ground it. In a ZVS circuit, you have to ground it. In a Slayer exciter, you're not grounding it. That's part of the reason for the choke. But no. That ground is a stronger connection. Sean defies what we think of ground, by the way. I love it when he does it too. Because he'll just take a random thing in his shop, man, like a spool of wire, connect it to it, make it the ground, and then the coil works perfect. That's kind of a misnomer about the ground and what it actually is. So it's just funny to see that. But yeah, had to get it in there, man. We're all talking about it. We're looking forward to Tesla Tech. We're looking forward to Sheila's presentation if she's doing it there. We know Bernie's presenting. Everything that we're learning ties right into the same thing. We're dealing with harmonics. We're dealing with resonance. We're dealing with patterns. All of it goes into the same thing. Your understanding of a mandala. Everything came back to the same thing. Churches, how they do things. Why there's a spot inside the church where you can drop the stick and find the point. Why? Because that particular point is where all the energy gets focused once they have everything on. Once the singing starts and everything like that, that's the focal point. There's spots where everything is completely empty and void of sound. I'm sure a lot of people didn't know that. Joe talks about it when he gives the example of a lake. You can go out to the center of the lake and you can get the full value of everything. And then at certain spots, it's completely empty of sound itself. We've seen this in Elijah's setup when he goes around the room and he's looking for the energy. At some points, the energy is higher than it is in others. And it has to be the way that everything builds out. You see, resonance is a point in space. And as it goes, you get the structure that builds out. Just like Sheila's telling you, man, it builds out in those beautiful flowers. Well, that means that there's an energy trail going to both sides. You just got to look for the energy trail, and there's always a center point. There's always a focal point. That's what we should learn from that. In every resonance system, when you set up extra coils and stuff like that, you have a resonance point in the center. The point where everything comes together and has the highest value. We use it to turn it on, but that could be a misunderstanding from us. We should learn that once a system is already resonantly active, we should turn that center one off. Part of the experiments that I was doing is taking multiple Tesla coils that are resonating by themselves on the outside and trying to shut off my center Tesla coil. I mathematically put them out exactly the same distance apart on my back patio. And I would get them all to run, turn on, a light, then take the light away so that it's not interference, and then try to shut down my Tesla coil. I could get it down to about 4 to 5 volts on there to run this thing. And I'm trying to get it to shut off to self-run. The thing is, though, my center of my coil is different in frequency when it's off versus when it resonates. So I have to put the same one that's running out there and then take capacitance in order to make up the difference to get them all to resonate the same. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense to everybody, but hopefully with the cap bank and I'm showing you that, we can jump between resonant frequencies. So if I wanted to raise it 2 levels on the resonance frequency, I could do that. I could drop it 2 levels. Anyway, what that basically means is we could drop it probably 100 and something kilohertz every time or raise it 100 and something kilohertz. Then we can put the original center one back to the same as the rest of them. That's what I'm attempting to do. The closer I get to that, the better this thing runs. The less energy I have to put in the system. That's the thing. As all these things turn on, the power level goes down. But the frequency picks up because it's repeating itself again and again and again. It's doing a geometrical pattern based on the distance itself. So frequency over distance, you know what I mean? F equals 1 over T is time, okay? It also works the same way when you go frequency equals 1 over the distance, okay, or the amplitude over the distance. It's the same thing. You have a distance associated with how much energy it pushes. That's what it's trying to say to you. So when you set it up, it matters exactly how far each one is and what you value into each one to get it. Then you get self-run. I'm close. I'm very, very close. Once I get it, there's no question of where does the energy come from? Because it won't be from the power source. That's for sure. It's always there to start it. You always need a Kickstarter. You need something to turn it on. But past that, if it self-runs, game over. It's the energy's all around you, and you can never discount it ever again. That's kind of the point of the whole experiment. Once it self-runs, all the things that you hear in physics are going to become wrong when it comes to perpetual motion. If you have over unity, all of it. That's why I'm doing it. Anyway. Yeah, I need to keep myself out of the mix, that's for sure, because I have body capacitance, and yes, I'm a fat guy, so I have extra capacitance in there. Yeah, a switch at a distance is a very good idea. So, yeah, there's a natural flow that goes around. I agree with that. Yeah, we got to see which way it goes, right? Does it go right? Does it go left? It's so fast, I can't really tell. It looks like it comes out from the center to each one, you know what I mean? The cool thing is, man, you could double layer on the outside with a whole nother layer. It doesn't affect the center one at all. You're not pushing out more energy to do it. It's based on what the energy of that second coil out. So you have center, the one out from it, and then the one out from that, right? So if you say the center one pushes out energy to this one, if that's your mindset, then you're going to get screwed up when I put another coil out there, because it's going to go based on the coil right before it. So it's going to mess you up if that's the way you're thinking it is. If you think it's the frequency, then you're right. So then you look at, okay, resonant frequency to each frequency out there. Now it makes sense why these things are going off and why it'll jump from coil to coil to coil, even though they have nothing attached to them. That's why I think I could self-run it, because as you build it out, it makes it easier, and the energy itself runs itself throughout the system. It defies modern physics for it to happen. That's why I want it to happen. That's it. There's no other reason for that. I don't need a billion light bulbs on. I don't need to build 1 trillion Tesla coils. I want to defy what they think is physics. So we're getting close on that one. I played with capacitance in the back end, capacitance in the front end. You know what I mean? Looping the systems a little bit. I think I got the best way going this time. Yeah, it's like a crystal structure built out. That's exactly the point. It is, I mean, a hexagon is what I'm putting it at. Love the hexagon because easiest crystal to build, easiest thing to map out. I mean, we could do a cube or a square. That might be easier, but I like the bigger structure with a few more coils. So, yeah. Well, I want to keep all the outside influences of power out of it once it runs. I don't want any question whatsoever. Zero. Because let's think about it this way. If you pass the center one, have that one running, the one outside from it, and then the one outside from that at a further distance runs as well, it's only running off the power of this one right here. It's not running off this power right here. They're intertwined, all of them. Okay. So I need to get it to where the two outside ones start bouncing together. Once we do that, then I can bounce it back to the center the right way. You got to work outside, then come back in and work inside. Yeah, I don't know anything about Steinmetz and what he was doing to try to get rid of the AC system that would causing the huge current flow in the grid system. Yeah, current flow is the wrong way to go, isn't it? That's a failure. Yeah, I don't think that the two high voltage lines work out a lot of current flow. Sorry, I don't see it. You say, well, why is that? Because it wouldn't go very far. The more amps you put into it, the least amount of distance you get. So when you look at converting, how are they converting it back? That's what we ought to be looking at. What are they actually doing to take the high voltage and bring it down to a lower voltage that goes into your house? What are they converting? How are they converting it? That's the important part. You know what I mean? How do they break this thing down to normal power? They do not have a huge station there. It's just done on your pole. So we know it's, mineral oil. We know that it's transformers in there. It'd be interesting to find the values of it. As a matter of fact, I think every time you look at a simple energy that flows through those power lines, you got to remember that they spark gap it. They spark gap it twice before it goes in there. So they already know they're amplifying the energy based on the spark gap, but it's also higher voltage and less amperage in it. Yeah, that's why you get some stuff that the energy that flies off and the problems they have when it swings. Oh, that's because of high voltage. High voltage is a real pain in the butt when it comes to that stuff. Hmm. Yeah. Well, some of the stuff is also I'm not grounding my Tesla coils out, guys. I sorry, I didn't want to. The main one's grounded out, but the rest of them are not. But there's nothing to them. There's them are too whiny. If I ground them out, they pick up energy. And maybe that's the miss in my system. Maybe that's what I'm missing. Maybe I should shove a ground to every single one of them. And then they would be tied together, though. I mean, kind of defeats the purpose, right? And I could put a fake ground in there. You know what I mean? Just find some mass and connect them to mass, and that would be their ground. That would work, just like Sean did with the two brass balls that he used. We could do that. But then again, I think it defeats part of the system. Though I do know that the energy in those amounts would be much higher. So I don't know. There's good things and bad things to everything. And once I figure out if I can get it to run without tampering with the original wire winding, then we'll move on to something else. But I'm not there yet. What I do in my time, huh? So I wound a ton of Tesla coils, by the way. Just one day, I just started ripping them out, man. I think I got like 16 of them in one day, which is good. You know what I mean? Sprayed them up, did them all. Let me just tell you, my back hurt like crazy. My eyeballs are gone for a couple days. Yeah. There was a lot of whining going on. 5 pound spools are going away, like, you know what I mean? They're going out of style, man. Yeah. Interesting. Imagine a Bedini motor type spark gap filtering each of the coils at each other at the speed you select. Well, that might be the way to go, man. That might be the way to go. I don't know. I can't tell you what the answer is. I know what I'm trying. I can tell you that I'm getting closer and closer every time that I tune this thing. And the closer I can get that center pillar right, the better off I am. Because then if I turn off the energy, it doesn't create a spike in the system. I think that's what's flawing it. It's a spike. There's a shutdown of something that was on a higher number, causes a flow problem. So yeah. Anyway, that's that system. Oh, I do have some pictures to show you guys. Give me a second here. I wound the other coil that we were working on. The first one just literally fell apart on me. So I had to remake it. So let me pull it here. That's what the coil looks like now. It was the pink one before, but the sides on the pink one, they were too tall. The fins, they were too tall. So they got smashed and they break over. The wire was too thick. 20 gauge wouldn't work. It was too big. This is right here much better. Let's see. I'll pull another one for you. There you go. Give you a little better look at it. Yeah, it's nice and clean. It's ready for the epoxy. That's the next step for it. I had a lot of trouble putting some of this stuff out because I had the wrong nozzle size. This right here is going on what was it? This is going on the ZVS. I'm straight putting this on a ZVS as a bipolar Tesla coil. Don't have a specific frequency in mind. This is throw it at the wall and see what sticks, man. Whatever it is, it is. Sean tells me this will probably be in the megahertz range or a high kilohertz based on the amount of windings that I put into it and everything else. It's 28 gauge wire. And yeah, it took a lot of sanding. When you get little boogers on the end of it when you're 3D printing, man, it makes it very bad thing when you go to wind wire. Let me just tell you that. Sean got me I refer to it as a medieval torture device, but it's a really cool winding machine, man. I kind of just do that to mess with them. Let me pull it up. It feels when you're winding all day like it's a torture device. I can tell you that. Yeah, that's the device right there. So you put it on there, you put a pin in there, man, and you start cranking it, and you can wind it. Just have to make sure it goes in the groove, that you lined everything up properly. Stick this thing to a board, man, and start cranking. You got to kind of clamp it to the desk, though. But yeah, they call the structure a type of Utron. So, it's obviously not the aluminum Utron that we're talking about when you normally say it. So I'll just call this my Tesla coil Utron so we can identify it differently. But it has the same basic shape where it looks like a square going in one side and a diamond in the other. Really cool. Anyway, yeah, that was fun. That was fun winding that thing. Not really. It was not fun at all. That thing, man, if you have anything that's off on it, and like I said, any little boogers on it, it tries to tear up your wire. So you have to really watch what you're doing and go slow with it. And once you start winding, it's not so bad once you start going through a couple times. But man, I had times I had to go in there and stop, clean it out, sand it. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see it run. I do normally, if it was something that I just sprayed, I would already had it running. But I got to epoxy this one, Sean says. I don't have a choice. So that's the next step. It gets epoxied. I got to fit it into my schedule. Okay, it should have been done 2 weeks ago, but the first one I tried to wind, absolute garbage. It just crunch, crack. I had to remake it, resize it. The good news is I know how to do it now. I built it as an STL. Sean sent me his. So I built my own STLs for this, so I can make any shape I want to now because I understand the structure and how the distance works. So if this works, we're going to be all right. So there's vacuum epoxy, and then there's epoxy while it's rotating, like Sean was showing on his rotisserie. That's what I'm going to use, the rotisserie style. Throw it on the rotisserie, let it run. Just keep it on a motor that's consistent, and then let it rotate at a slow speed. Put it on there. Yeah. Well, the vacuum will get rid of most of the air bubbles. Is what it'll do if you pre-vacuum it. So I could do that, but I think I was going to go with the that little small torch thing and just what I mean, just kind of get it over there. Maybe like you guys were saying, the hair dryer, and just let the bubbles come to the top and get them. So I'll be honest with you, man. As long as they pop on the outside of it, I could care less. I just don't want them in there by the windings. So yeah, it's a first one, man. So you got to get to play with it, and I've never done the epoxy, and this will be the first time. So be interesting. Yeah, I have my winding machine. If you guys remember that, I built out that winding machine for Tesla coils. Well, all I have to do is take the inside part now, and I don't know what they call them, like a little knuckle or something like that. You put it on there, and it holds the tube in the center, and it'll rotate it for you at a very slow speed. So yeah, it should work out perfect. Put a little tray under it, you know what I mean? So I don't ruin my table that I just fixed. It should come out good, man. I would imagine it'd take a little while to dry, but other than that, it should be pretty good. Anyway, that's what's going on in the progress there with my Tesla coil setup that I'm working on. I got my table full of coils right now, circuits, everything. I spent a lot of money, man. A lot of money getting ready to put up that Shopify account. I haven't done it yet because I haven't finished the back inventory yet. So I got to have a whole bunch of this stuff in there, and I'm making the PMP circuits. I'm making NPN circuits. Make sure I distinguish the two so I can see them right offhand. So on the NPNs, they're going to have silver on the top, and then PNP is going to have this traditional black. And then you'll all have the fans and everything on them. The ZBS, you saw me work that out. We got a beautiful board that's built for that. It, everything bolts into it. Man, that thing is awesome the way it works. I'm going to start also putting out there, because I notice people keep hitting me up. They don't have them, is those little clips for the Tesla coil to go on the 1/4 inch. So I didn't see anybody out there doing that. I'm trying to figure out if I need to see a tool or die guy in order to make these things, because once they're cut into strips, it basically, you're bending things like this and getting it into alignment, and that's it. And it's the same alignment every time. If I can just get a die in there, man, I can get it boom real quick. You know what I mean? Do them super fast, make them real clean looking. I tried to buy copper for it, and it said 20 gauge copper, right? They're 24 gauge. I got it and it was jewelry stuff. It was junk. It was kept bending and flopping. It's never going to work for a Chester coil. So I have to use the stuff that hold the copper stuff that holds on the pipes for your house. I cut it down and sand it off, you know what I mean, and make that work. But there's got to be a better way. So yeah, big alligator clip works great. Yeah, these clips are way better. I can tell you that. It's how they bump the other, the coil above it and below it. That's what I dislike about the big clips. They're not set up to just, hit a 1/4 inch piece and clamp on. Like if they came out and then just had a little bump, just like that, and then stopped, that'd be perfect. Because then you go, boom, open them up, clamp, put it in. But they don't do that. They're big comping. And then the little alligator clips themselves, you have to bend them in order to stop it from doing that. And they tear up your number one coil all day long by putting marks all over it. Yeah, that's why I prefer these little clips, man. You can, go over there and I just, grind them down just a little bit and they're perfect. They don't have that. They go boop right on there. Not a problem. They have enough strength in the middle where they can allow it to pop on and then hold it. So, yeah, I'm going to put those out there. Also, the wire to run AC is very particular and very different. So I want to put those out there too by themselves. And because I don't like what I have to do to them now. I don't like chopping up wire and cutting it up and sending it to people. I'm just going to buy the wire and the roll and then get ends of it so that it can have a 3-prong plug on the end so you can plug it in, or a 2-prong plug. You get what I'm saying? So it doesn't look hokey with things, cut, shrink tubed and taped. Just not a fan. I would rather it be nice and clean looking and exact and have the, the end pieces on it where you put it into the right place. Stuff like that. Yeah, these circuits, by the way, they all work with different Tesla coils. You don't have any problem. So, yeah, these things, like I said, you take one of these Slayer exciters, and if your coil's good and your number 1 and 2 are good, turn this sucker on, man, and enjoy the show. If you're using a ZVS, that's a little different. They have to be in a certain range on your number 1 and 2 coil. That's why I made the coils that I did, because they're in perfect range with it. They oscillate so well with it. So the cap bank may help you get in resonance, you know what I mean, with the coil that you have. But let's just face facts, man. At 196 kilohertz to right around 400 kilohertz, where you have to be. That's what your coil needs to be. If you go less, just go with a Slayer exciter or retune some things. So nice. You got a spark gap test. I have to try that spark gap on there. Are you using AC to do the spark gap, or using DC when you put it in? I asked simply because the conversion going back, I wanted to use some spark gaps on some stuff for energy. And I just wanted to see what you were running in yours. Because normally I just use DC. I don't play with a lot of AC in the Tesla coil. If I wanted to, I'd build like a 5-foot Tesla coil and then have some fun, but not what I usually do. Nice. All right. Let's take a look, Devin. Let's see what you got going on today. Or Dennis, I'm sorry. Dennis, let's take a look at what you got going on today. Pull this thing back. All right. Go to channel. Oh, man, you got all kinds of stuff here. Hold on. Man, look at that. Look at all those colors in there. See if I can't get this thing. Ooh. Man, what was that at the end? Lights aren't connected, okay. Oh, there we go. Slow motion sound. Man, it kind of sounds different, huh? Oh, let's go back. Let's take a look. That slow motion's killer. Awesome. Kind of sounds like alien stuff, doesn't it? It gets a little hard on your ears. Look at that. Was that an ice cube? No, one of those mixer things, huh? Oh, look at that structure right up above it. Oh, wow. Hold on. Hang on. You see the vortex. Look at the structure of it right there. Wow, it almost looks like DNA the way it's twisting. Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, man, this is cool looking when you capture it like that. You know what I mean? That's slow. Look at the outside swirl it gets too. Hold on. So it's slow and then right there. You see that going downward? You're getting a swirl as well as the swirl it's going up in, but then there's a downward swirl too. Oh, let's play that again. There goes slow. Now you see a swirl developing around the ice cube. And watch as he goes faster. See it right there? Oh, you catch it real good at the top. Oh, dude, that is super cool. Huh. Like mesmerizing. You look at this thing all day. Huh. Yeah, that's way cool, man. Yeah, I love it when it speeds up, though. That's intense. Oh, it's funny. Everybody has the same idea on that one, I think. Nice. Like Frankenstein's lab is what's going on there, man. Oh man, you got an awesome setup going on there, brother. Yeah, that's some cool stuff, man. I like that water spinning up there, man. That's really cool. That's really cool. Huh. Oh man. Yeah. So we're looking at Sean's plasmoid the other day, man, with Joe and stuff. And Sean caught everything and obviously was there to help out and stuff. And he got a hold of me after that. I told him, man, take out your Tesla coil and start running it. Put it next to it. You're going to find something different. Maybe able to hold in that plasma. So, man, I want to see what he does with that. And hopefully he gets the understanding I gave him. Kind of the same one I gave this morning. If you guys watched it this morning, I was talking about it and how it actually worked. I did this over a year ago when it came to how things work with the Tesla coil and high voltage. So it's one of those things proven, man. You can continue to do it. You can continue to do it in your lab all day. That's the way it works. So that's rocking cool, man. That's really cool. Can't wait to see where he goes with that thing. I don't know, let me move the way. There they are. I got 2 pots sitting right over there so I can test his experiment. Of course, I got high voltage equipment over here, but I wanted to see for myself. You know what I mean? I want to see how that's going to work out. Like the light tube light collapse, nice. Dude, I like the nice colors you get out of it. When you get that thing to go, Dennis, and then you slow it down, that was unbelievable to me. I wonder what happens if we get a tube with a bunch of different gases in it. I bet it'd be out of this world to see if you can get it in slow motion like that. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the hard thing, isn't it? Low frequency. The hard part is not the frequency itself, it's the resonance to it. That's what's hard. I'm working on stuff now, and you got to change all the frequencies to everything. Nice. Oh man, yeah, it's a long day, bro. I've been up since 2 o'clock this morning, man, working on this stuff. Like my printers, I don't think have a break in like 3 days. I think they're silent right now, only because I haven't got up to change them. They've been going 24/7, man. Just pushing stuff out. I swear Amazon loves me. They used to deliver to my front door. Now they just deliver to my garage. They no longer put it in front of my front door. They're like, this dude's in his garage. We already know what's up here. It's so funny, man. I used to tease the wife. I said, the Amazon driver knows my name because of you and all the packages you get. And now she tells me the same thing. She goes, oh, yeah, he knows your name now. That's what it is. He knows you're getting all this stuff. It's so crazy because I will. Like, I know everybody, you know what I mean? You guys would take your check and go and do other things. Well, I'm retired, man. All my stuff is paid for through my retirement and stuff like that. So, all that. So all this stuff that I get here goes right into my experiments and building stuff. So my wife was laughing. She goes, so you got like an extra $500 this month, you know what I mean, for stuff that we got going around the house and, you know what I mean, selling a little bit of stuff. And I go and I spend it all on this stuff, man. Dude, I spend it all on this stuff. And she was laughing at me. And then I turned around, took my whole YouTube check, paid it on this, man. I dropped a lot of bills like that. I think I put like $1,500 into this thing, man. And just buying stuff and clearing things out. You watch all of Eric Thaller's videos, man? Right on, brother. Right on. I said he's great engineer. Absolutely. Fantastic. So I like the one we looked at today with the sound and resonance. A little bit different than what he usually talks about. Yeah. I watched a lot of them, man. I caught like 6 of them this week. I put them on in the background while I'm working on my stuff. You know what I mean? Just to hear him see what he says. You know what I mean? The picture doesn't change. It's just him looking at the camera. So put it on in the background. So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff he talks about, man, that I agree with. There's a lot of things I don't like that have to do with stamping things out of system. It just reminds me of assignments. And I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for all the anomalies in them. It's kind of the difference in what I do and, you know, they do. I'm looking for the anomalies. They're trying to cancel them out. So whatever. You know what I mean? To each its own. I do want to build one of his Tesla coils, though, the Tesla built that looks like that, but I'm so far backed up I won't be able to do it for another while. So I did order parts. Society of High Sciences asked me to do what was it now? A Tesla. Oh, now I know I'm getting old. The cold energy circuit. What do they call that? With the big tube. Oh man, now I'm drawing a blank. Anyway, I ordered all the parts for it. That's coming in. So I'll be able to build out the copper that goes around, you know, the lighting in it, and then everything else. So yeah, that'd be fun. It'll be the first time I run a spark gap in my Tesla coil, which is going to be a bipolar Tesla coil with the winding wrapped around the whole thing, just like he did. And then it goes off into the spark, it goes off into the tube, spark, there you go, hairpin circuit, exactly. I'm going to replicate that as close as I can with what I have. I'm not going to go out and buy a bunch of microwave transformers and stuff, but I will get it to spark and do all those fun things and show it, because he had a cool experiment that went with it. So I'll be doing that one. Yeah. Yeah, you just got to remember those Tesla coils are actual Tesla coils, not what we use today. Yeah. So I have most of that done. I've been waiting. I want an electric. That's what I'm waiting for. All the rest of it's done. All the parts fit. They all hook in together. All the magnets are in it. I mean, I guess I could show it. You know what I mean? Later on this week or next week. But I'm waiting for the electrics to be where it needs to be, because I need that field to build out that electric. So yeah, kind of waiting on that and trying to find a different way around it, but I can't, because I can't get the high voltage to go, because they're counter rotating every sphere. Makes it a real pain to try to put anything in there, and it doesn't really work well. Right on, brother. ADX took care of you, man. 50 man builds memberships. He also hooked me up with a $5 sticker, man. Thank you very much, brother. Thank you very much. Taking care of business, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I got a lot on my plate, man. Everything kind of got put aside when I started to say, okay, I'll sell things. You kind of have to put things in perspective of what you have to do. I need a lot more money in order to build, some of the projects I want to build to make them even cooler for the channel. And it just requires more money. That's all there is to it. Yeah, shout out ADX, man. Right on, brother. You took care of me last time too, man. Thank you. Yeah, that dollar thing. If you watch the beginning of this, man, it was awesome. Just awesome. Yeah. There's a lot more to that too. I mean, what we need to do is start to put together some kind of database for this stuff. And I know we have frequency databases and stuff like that show it in cymatics and stuff like that. But we really need to put it together with resonance and stuff and build it out in systems so that we can start seeing it that way and change all of what's going on. Because the only way that anybody's going to ever notice that this stuff is right is if you start building the projects for it. And that's what we have to do. You know what I mean? Just build out any project that you possibly can to show anything that this thing does with any device that you'd like. Just get it out there. And that way we can put a bunch of data together. That way we all have it. And we can share it between everybody, and everybody can run their experiment, double check. I think that we need to do that. Yeah, I think you're correct in that. He says that he's wrong about that no one can build them anymore. A couple of people still do it. I think what he's, I would imagine, I can't put words in the man's mouth, but alluding to, there's not a whole lot of people are willing to work that hard anymore to do it. It takes a real professional class of individuals to do that. So I think he looks at society and doesn't see the same thing as they had back then, as the dedication to a craft, because everything's now cheap and easy to get. Yeah. Yeah, but the more we build this thing out, man, the more we get it to look like that, the more they'll pay attention to it. Like, string theory absolutely has what's going on in this, but that doesn't mean that anybody else doesn't. Man, Ulysses, you're totally awesome, brother. Thank you very much, man. Taking care of me again, man. Taking care of me again. Thank you. Yeah, just build out the database, man. Let's see where it goes. I don't have a direction I want it to go. I just want it to go wherever it leads. That's it. You know what I mean? I'll take in every answer we got, man, and show it on the channel and everything else so that we all have it. The sooner somebody gets to these systems, man, we got it. String theory's got it. They have the right, correct basis for everything because it's resonance. And once you get past that, man, building out things, and that's easy. Getting people to understand the difference between a frequency and resonance is kind of, I thought it would be easy. I thought it'd be like, hey, man, it just takes two. That's all you got to know. It just got to take two. You know what I mean? Working in conjunction with each other. And I get people telling me about the one speaker, and I'm like, oh my God, did we not hear the part before? Don't drive me nuts. Got to have two. Anyway, that's just a pet peeve of mine. Nothing to do with anybody else. Yeah, but then we get into the resident frequency where you have two frequencies in the pulse, which basically means you can put them out of frequency to each other, the two coils, and get a pulse that develops in between them that's much higher. That's you put in a ratio between them, which basically is your harmonic going in between them. And then now you can get a pulse which will amplify both the energies altogether. That's cool. That's amazing when it does that. The amplification of anything without having to really pay for it, man. That's another level. I've seen it happen too, man. This stuff works with the piezo's. The only problem is the piezo's keep killing my damn hearing aids. Cost me a lot of money to get that stuff fixed. Those things that get so high in frequency, you don't think that they do, but they're well into the megahertz range. Okay. 25 megahertz is what they start at in my gravity flyer. So I can only imagine how high they actually go. Even though the writing on the package says kilohertz, trust me, they go beyond that. Yeah. Well, we had a lot of cool things as kids, man. The generation before us had even cooler things than us, right? Like they got all the toys that had no warning label on them. So you get crazy things that they would make. I mean, zero warning labels, no seat belts, you know what I mean, flying on the back of the wagon against the back window. There were no rules back then. It was like ruthless. I grew up when there was some rules, man, and they actually put the label on there. Not back in the day, man. Yeah. Oh man. You know, that understanding, by the way, that Eighth gave us about the energy and the orgonite and stuff like that came in so handy in understanding what was going on my project. It's the energy's all around us. We just didn't realize it. And he was saying that all the time. Energy has purpose, it has reason, and everything has energy attached to it. And when I get into my system and stuff like that, I start thinking about that and how it's actually working versus the book version of, you know what I mean? This wire goes here, this one goes here, this is the reason for this. Much different understanding in the way to look at these things. Much different. Yeah, what troubled me a little bit when I was looking at, they had the Tesla coils and they say it's a one wire Tesla coil, and all they did was put in frequency to it. That worried me a lot. That one worried me a lot. I saw somebody doing that, and they work with a lot of people, to do things, and it really worried me a lot. Do I ignore comments? No, I don't. I just didn't put it up, and I read quite a few and answered them, to be honest with you. I do in the mornings. I'll be quite honest with you. In the mornings when I do my podcast, I don't answer a whole lot of questions until the end. And when I do this one here, I do answer quite a few questions. So, yeah. You ask me questions on my vids. Sometimes I answer and sometimes I don't. It depends what the question is. If it's a straightforward question, I don't mind answering it. If it's going to take me 10 paragraphs to get there, I don't think that you want that answer. Yeah, sorry about that. I will check for your face and name when it comes up, and I'll make sure I answer for you. So I got so much spam. Dude, I get a lot of crap talked, to be honest with you, on some of this stuff, man, because they absolutely hate when you go against the system. Metal wraps in the inductance of coil you gave away. I don't know the actual inductance of it. As a matter of fact, I shouldn't say that. I do know it. And I'll put it on a post. I have 2 pictures of it. I ran my LCR meter on it, so I can give you a number on what it is. I have no idea how many winds it is. I don't count them that way. I did put it in the machine to do the Tesla thing to calculate the thing when I first did it. I'll put that up as well because I do believe it tells you the amount of turns it's required in order to make that distance. So, I do have the information you want. I will post it on my channel thing. Yeah. It's well, it's not a very big coil. So it's 11 3/4 is the total height. It's a 4-inch wide coil or a 4-inch wide PVC pipe. 11 3/4 height. You take off the tape mark on the bottom. I usually tape it and then start the wind above the tape. So just your average size tape. I get it up to the top and I leave this much available right there, about 1/8 of an inch at the very top. The diameter is 4 inches on that pipe. And 120.5, I think, is what it is. I used on my bottom to put them in. Sometimes the pipe themselves, the diameter changes just slightly. You know what I mean? I went from 100 to 102.5 on the millimeters when it changed. Yeah, sometimes they're off. So I have to fix my STLs every time I go to play with these things. 4.5 at 24 inches. That's close to the one over that shoulder right there. That one's about 24 inches tall, and that's a 4-inch wide pipe. So we're kind of close to the same range there. But that's 28 gauge wire, so it requires that to get me in the 300 kilohertz frequency. If you use 32 gauge wire like I usually use, it doesn't do the same thing. Use the PVC from Home Depot. I use the same thing. So you say 4.5, is that 32 gauge wire? Yeah, we're in the same range, man. Just cut that sucker to 11 3/4. Yeah. Take out the tape mark on the bottom, just tape it around to hold your wire, then wind it, and just leave an 1/8 inch at the top. We'll have the same coil. Yeah. Yeah, I know that 4-inch pipe you get there, the outside diameter is just a little bit extra than the inside diameter. I understand. But we're using the same stuff. I got mine at Lowe's, Home Depot. Home Depot usually doesn't have it. The one around here, not the same. Lowe's usually carries it. You have to watch out for that stupid bend in the pipe. They got a flat spot in them, makes them completely useless to me. So I don't know if you're talking to him or me. I don't. For mine, my coils run on my CVS. All of them do. 26 megahertz on your coil. Wow. That's a lot. Usually, okay, if you're running at 32 gauge wire and you're at 2 feet on a 4-inch diameter, you should be not in the megahertz. You should be in the low kilohertz. You should be right around, 120 kilohertz. Yeah, it seems strange. I'll just put it this way. It could be the capacitance value in the whole thing, but generally, the smaller the wire you get, and how do I say this? Man, there's a better way to say this. The mass itself, so the total weight of the wire determines your frequency. So when you have more mass to it, the frequency itself comes down. When you have less mass to it, the frequency goes up. If that makes sense to you at all. So that means regardless of the gauge of wire you're doing, you're based on the amount of weight in the copper itself in order to change the frequency. So little short one like this, megahertz. Big one like this, kilohertz. Didn't see anything in the hertz range yet. Tall the coil of hertz. You wired in gaps throughout it too. Well, is it the same winding though? So that's the thing. So regardless of the gap in between, if you like wound it and then gave it a half inch in between but kept the same wire, it's going to see the coil is the same. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's going to keep the, because you could take a Tesla coil number 2, put it on top of your Tesla coil and connect them together and just solder the 2 wires together, and it'll lower the frequency of your entire coil. I did it with 2 of my coils, and I was up around 250, 300 kilohertz range. I dropped down to 150 kilohertz at great resonance. So, yeah, the more I keep adding, the lower it gets. Oh, well, that's a whole different system there. Look at that. 3 inches wrapped, 1 inch space, 3 inches wrapped, 2 inch space. Is there a particular reason you ran with this? Now it makes sense why you got a 24-inch pipe and you're probably have less winding on it than I do. It's on your YouTube. Okay, give me a second. Okay. Is it in the video section or the shorts? Here, I'll go ahead and show the screen. Was a live stream. Oh, here we go. I see it.
Hopefully, I'll be fine this time. The phone's charging over there, so basically, man, I'm trying to find a frequency of this coil, and what I'm doing is I'm pumping a pulse width modulation to choose the frequency of my primary via an ESP32, and that's gonna change the frequency via a web app from my ESP32 to drive this. I'm driving this primary to the secondary with an ESP32 GPIO out to a MOSFET gate. And then I have the drain and source, which drain goes to the bottom of the Tesla coil primary, and the top would go to the 12 volt, and then the source of the MOSFET goes to your PSU ground, your PSU that you're powering the other side of the primary with to induct the secondary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a sweep of frequencies until I see high points on my radio here. And I'm going to try to match until I get farther distance. So the most distance, I might have a light bulb, and I'm going to be able to measure the distance based on the frequency. And what I'll probably end up doing is probably just lay some LEDs or something like that, or hang them or something, right? Just to see how far the field's going out. But basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to pulse this primary at my chosen sweep frequency. So I'm going to choose the frequency by sweeping through it. Now I already got an idea where the frequency is going to be, right? I just roughly calculated. I was like, okay, well, where would I even start? Well, you know, ChatGPT is a friend, man. It helps you out like so much. It's not like a real friend, but it's pretty dang close. This thing, what you're doing is you're trying to find the capacitor value for your primary to match the secondary. So what you have is this has its own capacitance already. It's got capacitance, a part of it, and inductance values. So we can measure the inductance value. This one's 16.1 microhenries. I don't know the capacitance. I don't even know how to find it. Well, I do, but the way they're saying is you either measure the spool of line that you're using, the gauge, and the diameter you wrap, and how you wrap. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a headache, man. Sure, you could do it that way. Have fun. I'm going to do it a different way. What I'm doing to find the capacitor value for that primary to match the secondary coil's intrinsic attributional resonance frequency that it runs at. This has a frequency. This coil runs at a certain frequency based on its diameter, length, gaps, angle, all of this. This determines this whole coil, the way it's wrapped, how big, how long, it changes the frequency. So I got to figure this frequency out. And the best way to do that, in my experience or my research, is have a SDR, software defined radio, like this one over here, hooked up with a big antenna. And right now I'm doing FM radio, 105, just local radio station. We can play this. Watch.
Okay, can't play the music. Hold on. So hang on a minute. I didn't see any timestamps at the bottom. Okay. Go a little bit past this. I just want to see if that music stops.
Primary's on here. The primary's got a 0.0 range, probably. And that's where I'm going to start scanning. And once I can kind of hear the music. Right? You don't want that. That's not tuned. You need it tuned. You need it right there. So, frequency band here. This is FM. I'm not working at the FM. I'm working in kilohertz. This is megahertz. Way higher this is. I need lower. I need kilohertz. This is a kilohertz and frequency. Coil. So I'm going to be in about 300 to 500 kilohertz range, probably. And that's where I'm going to start scanning. And once I start scanning for this, right, it's a 24-inch, 3.5-inch diameter, 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch gaps, 3 inch wraps. So it's 16.1 microhenries. I don't know the capacitance, but I'm going to find the frequency. All right, y'all. It is approximately 4:25 or so in the morning. It's been a long morning. Not 4:16. Anyway, I'm ready to go to sleep. But aside from that, I finally got successful. I probably went through 4 or 5 MOSFETs in the last 24 hours, and I went through 2 ESP32 boards, and I fried 2 of the GPIO pins on my ESP32 on the third one. So I was having technical difficulties like crazy. Nonetheless, I'm going to show you what to do. I was going to use my ESP32, which can be done. I just having struggles with it because honestly, I'm really tired right now. I can't tell you what I remember it being. I think I got to add a TVS diode, possibly a TVS diode and a capacitor maybe to the MOSFET. But anyway, let's focus. It's been a minute and a half. Let's get to it. Right here, I have my secondary Tesla coil. It's a big thing. Wrapped funny, right? And I have just that light bulb. That's an SDR. That's a RTL 2832U SDR, software defined radio. Over here, that's where the magic's going to happen here in a sec. I had to adjust the gain to about 43 decibels to get a cleaner resolution of all that, and you'll see what I'm talking about here. Because if I turn this down right here, let's turn the gain now. Watch this. See that? See that line there? It's interference. We don't need that. So I'm turn the gain up. Turn up more. That's better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, and we're going to do that via this, right? So that's turned on. Light bulb's on. Look at that, right? Light bulb's on. Look over here. My SDR disconnected, it looks like, or something. But yeah, you can see it. Those are the lines. All that is from the Tesla coil. So if I turn this back off, watch. So I'm going to go back in. So now it's off. Everything's off. Light bulb's off. Turn the light bulb back on. See what I'm saying? So this is about 16.1 microhenries. 16.1 microhenries is putting my secondary coil at a frequency. Let's turn it back on. All right, so now it's on. Let's do something here. Scroll back. Okay, you see what I'm saying? What the fuck is going on here? Whoa. 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 Just that noise floor real quick. Oh, what the fuck is going on with this, bro? Like, there's so many frequencies showing up. I mean, that light bulb lit up. I just don't understand. Look. That's fucking what I do when I do that. See what I'm saying? We're at 24 fucking megahertz, bro. So I'm looking for the highest resonant peak, and so far it's looking like this coil might be that so far. 24,727, 500. That's megahertz, bro. But I don't believe it because look, I'm still going up and it's still showing up. How far does this go?
Okay, real quick before we go any further with it, I just want to show you something. Now we take my original Tesla coil that I always build, and I built these. Now, as you can see, they're different sizes. All three. Now, what I was looking at is probably the same thing you were, is when your Tesla coil breaks down into the frequencies it takes to build that, total frequency there. This one's in the megahertz. This one's around 800 kilohertz. And this one's around like 500 to 400 and something. My original Tesla coil is in 300. So, I mean, you can see the direction it goes in each one of the windings, what they build out. I don't know if that's going to help you here, but that's what my process was in order to do it. Mine aren't actually connected all in the same one using one driver, but the frequencies are matching in the harmonic. So each one I built in the harmonic of it. You know what I mean? One's a half wave, one's a quarter wave, I think with third wave, something like that, building out. That's how I did mine. So I don't know if that helps or hurts or doesn't do anything for your understanding of what's going on, but that's how I did mine, wound it out. I did notice this, that the primary number one would have to be changed for these than the original number one that I do because it overwhelmed some of my systems. So anyway, we'll go back and check out what you got going on there.
Dude, I don't know how I'm going to read this shit, bro.
This got a lot harder than I thought. If I increase this shit, look at that. So maybe this one. 38912, but if I scroll back, okay, it's moving. There's the red, that's 36480. So if I turn this off, will that go away? Absolutely does. So 36480 is one. That's definitely a resonant peak for this. See? So that's red. I got the decibels at like 15. It's probably better actually. So anyway, so we got red lines at 36480 and 36340. So I'm gonna keep going. I still think I'm a little high. We're getting red lines everywhere. 34457. I mean, these peaks are all pretty big, dude. Yeah, good luck finding the fucking frequency, eh? And then it's gone. See, so it's up farther. See, right here. Turn it off. Still lines there. Kind of weird. I don't know why. Why is that there? All right, let's try this. See, that's with the fucking gain all the way down. All right, so we can see 24727. Scroll back. Nothing. Nothing. See how it cuts off? Nothing, bro. Let's go back more. Got something here. See what that is. Turn it off, right? No, it's still going. That ain't it. Let's turn it off again. No, those are staying steady. Let's keep going backwards. I mean, I'm in like 20 some megahertz, bro. That seems really big to me. Okay, still no interference from shutting it off, so we gotta go back farther. Okay, shut it off. Still going, turn it back on. All right, turn it off. No changes, keep going. Nothing's changed, keep going. Nothing's changed, keep going. Okay, so I just fried my MOSFET. But I made progress. So we're about the 24 megahertz range for this thing. So that's how I figured out the area of my software-defined or my secondary Tesla coil LC tank. Basically, what you want to do is you want to hook this up like I have in the main photo of this video. You hook it up like that, and you put like a UF 4007 or MUR. Well, honestly, that didn't. Well, I overheated it, so it wasn't backfeed per se. But so yeah, you do want a diode. You want to put a diode across your like this. This is what I have. You want a 10K resistor from gate to source. You know, that's all in the thing, I think, in the photo. But I have a diode going from source to drain. So, and as you can see, I was lighting the light bulb there and stuff, and I was getting patterns before my SDR disconnected, and I stopped it. But this is how I would do it. So far, it seems to be working. I haven't got to the point where I'm building a capacitor for the primary to match the secondary yet, though. That will be happening. But I'm at the point where I can finally read frequencies from a Tesla coil via a software-defined radio using SDR++ with the bullshit fucking requirements to install the damn drivers, because then that was a pain in the ass in itself. But yeah, so basically pulse this, you know, just like I have in the photo of this video. Hook it up exactly the same. You don't need even the diode, like I'm saying, but it would help. It help prevent destroying your MOSFET. Granted, you don't overheat it like I just did and ruin it that way. But ironically enough, I got a big heat sink right there, right? A big piece of aluminum. Anyway, and I have a fan right there too. Yeah, I'm a dummy, but I just, hey man, whatever. I'm too tired, man. I'm tired, but my point is, you hook the circuit up like I show in the photo. You get your SDR, and you want to have these settings right here, okay? You go in SDR++. This is what I got. You're going to find your source. It's going to be your RTL. After you install the drivers with Zadig or whatever it's called. What is this? Yeah, Zadig. You'd open this thing up and you'd find your interface 0. You go to options, you go to list all devices, you go down to bulk in interface 0, and you'll look for the 0BDA 283800. Okay, you want the ID to match up, and you want it to be interface 0, not 1. It has to be 0. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to install the I don't know, I installed that. Probably don't have to, but I did. And then you install, make sure it's this, you know, and then you install a driver, and you can use SDR++. And once you're in here, like I said, go to source, and you go to source, and you just leave these settings the same. You can mess with the gain if you need to, but as you've seen, I just put my SDR closer. Here's raw. I'm using raw. That's what I would recommend. We're not doing FM. If I wanted to pick up radio stations, FM would be what I would do. I could probably use USB or even AM, but I'm going to use raw because it's better. And then I can also record this. I could go back through and check it out. But that's not really, that's basically it. So I have a 16.1 microhenry secondary Tesla coil. Okay. And if I'm getting a peak, just say, I don't think this is my actual like only peak. This is a peak. Like it probably could use one of these peaks, to be honest. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to open Notepad. Okay. I got Notepad over here now. And what I want to do is show you something. Okay? If we have 16.1 microhenries plus, you don't know capacitance equals frequency. Okay, so what we have now is the frequency, which is 24.627 megahertz. It would be in hertz, I think, for this equation. Let's do this. What's the calculator copy paste equation for capacitance with frequency and microhenries? All right, let's see what it gives me. But for now, we're going to continue with this because I kind of already know it. So the frequency is right that. So we got, it's like 4 times something. Oh, I don't get why fucking ChatGPT does that. Anyway, give me a second here. Get note by ID or message ID. No node found on the placeholder request. Like, bro. Look at this shit. See what I'm saying? And now it wants to work. Hold on. Let's get you back set up here. Okay.
Dude, it's still loading. It's like it's taking its time. Let me pull out this phone and there we go. That's what I want right there. So here's the copy paste version. Right here, which is what we're going to transfer to the calculator to calculate. Okay. So we're going to get capacitance and farads. Okay. It's going to be 1 divided by 2 times pi times. Okay, I got to ask it what how to do the frequency. So let's say.
Okay. That's interesting. So you're just scanning through it with a frequency analyzer. So basically you're just scrolling through the frequency like radio frequency and trying to find out where everything is. And are the coils reading individually? Because that's what it seems like. If you're getting the megahertz range coil, that would make sense that you had one doing individual. And then the diode on the backside, the snubber, right? That's what you put in there, a snubber circuit. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about doing that to mine too. Save that MOSFET a little bit from any pushback. Yeah, it seemed like they were reading individual. Yeah. So it would be like you'd get one and then the other one would be out, and then you get another one, the other one would be out. Yeah, I could see that like working like that. That would make a horrifying way to test. Different spectrum, I assume it's the gaps. Yeah. I'm there with you. Yeah, it's like the read individual coils. Yeah. Huh. That's crazy. I never even thought about putting them in like that. To build them, one on top of the other like that. I always figured you get one coil, get it to oscillate, but yeah. Yeah, here, let me put your channel, man, in the chat so everybody has it. So, you know what I mean? Because we all work on Tesla coils here, man. I'm hit subscribe, hit share. If you wanted to come on, man, and explain it or anything like that, you're always welcome. So there you go, guys. There's his channel right there. That goes to that same video we were just watching. So everybody could check it out and get the rest of the details on it, man. I think that's super interesting the way you have a coil, though. Right on, brother. Thank you. Yeah, everybody seems to like it. Yeah. Man, something like that might drive me nuts. That's a lot of frequencies, man. If you got one turning on all of them, then yeah, I guess you would have to understand exactly how many henries you got going on. That makes all the math critical. And what I do, once we calculate the first winding, we don't use the math a whole lot. Very interesting. Very cool, man. Thank you for sharing that. I really do appreciate that. Well, let's check out more of his work so I can get a better understanding of what's going on. Right on. Yeah, I got these ones, man, when I did them. Little ones like this, stuff like that. You check them and see what they are. Nothing seems to match up right. You get, the next size, and that's where they're gonna hit. Well, you put them in the same cradle as the other one has too many windings on it, you get troubles. They don't come out the way they're supposed to. They start to resonate at different frequencies than you want because it's compensating between that and the number 2 coil. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done there. Those coils over there, like 1 2-wire windings, and I got like 7 on there, and they reduced that. I actually printed out some STLs to do that too. So I'll try out number 1 windings, different sizes, to see if I can't get those things working. So Oh man, new Gronk is next level. I heard that thing puts out pictures of what you're actually looking at and what you tell it. I don't know, man. Still not sold, but I tried to give it a try. So funny. I told Joe this. I give it a try, man. I honestly did. Apparently, I didn't read the parental settings on it or something, so it thought I was a kid. So as soon as I put something in, I said, "Just show me the universe, right?" And it says you're not old enough to see that kind of material. And I looked back at what I read, and I said, I didn't put anything sexually explicit in. I just wanted to see the universe. It says, no, you're too young. I I gave it some choice words and turned it off. Yeah, not yeah, Spinet 1.0. Yeah, no, thank you. That was about as far as I got, and I only did it because I wanted to see the thing if it could populate a picture based on what I say. You know what I mean? Some kind of 3D image, something that would be like AI does in other areas. So I wasn't too thrilled. Yeah, those things don't agree with me. Anyway, yeah, they're getting all your information. We're all giving it willingly. We're all screwed together. We're all in the same boat on this one, whether you participated or not. Oh, I find that funny. Oh, well, it is what it is. Everybody seems to like it to go on there and play around. It's their best buddy and gives it answers. Seems more frustrating to me. Just checking on your regular equipment and be done with it. Anyway, whatever. Just not a fan of AI, not in that way. It's not going to tell me the answers I want. I think that's what's most disappointing about it. Even its speculation is going to be wrong. It's all based on mainstream physics. Of course, it's not going to be what I'm looking at. I'm looking at anomalies. They're looking at what's the most common answer. We're not going to be on the same side of the fence, if you know what I mean. Huh. Probably crash the system if you ask it for a visual representation. Oh, man. That'd probably just get me in trouble. Visual representation, you say, huh? There's a Star Trek episode. We'll just keep asking you stupid questions. I told Joe too. I said, look, man, let's do a segment where we just ask AI stupid stuff. You know what I mean? See what it says. And I think it'd be pretty funny. Description could draw from a joke. Oh man, you're getting in all kinds of trouble with that. Oh, I have to teach it a new language of holes. Like, how would it know what I'm talking about now? I gotta teach it the language of holes. Then we can really get something going, man. That's funny. Yeah, I was thinking about doing a Star Trek episode today, man. I just didn't have the time. So, and then I wanted to do an AI song, and for whatever reason, the thing isn't working. It, I don't know. It says I'm not qualified for that level of whatever, but I made my other song on it, so whatever. Check out random planes fire around it. Looking for my powered up. Oh, nice. Yeah, I got planes overhead all the time, man. I got helicopters every day over my house. It has nothing to do with me. It's just between two Air Force bases, you get a lot of that. You get a lot of convoys on the highway. You get a whole bunch of stuff, man. A lot of was it C-17s up there. They're moving things, moving troops. Yeah. Oh well, that's the price you pay for living in California, I guess. A little bit different. So yeah, that was cool, man. What was it, 5? You get 5 coils on that thing? Let me see. That was pretty sure it was. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. I'm gonna have to try that at some point. Here in the middle of nowhere. Oh, so funny, man. Yeah. No, don't have anything like that, guys. I I don't think they're going to show up here anytime soon. Oh, stay out of trouble. Yeah, I don't post political things or anything like that that get me in trouble. A lot of people do. They, oh man, if it tells you anything, they still think that their candidate's awesome after they lost pathetically bad, and they haven't picked a new one yet. So the whole party would be in limbo, and then the other side is like overly celebrating stuff everywhere. So it's it's a whole train wreck on both sides, man. I'll tell you that. Let's stay out of it. I live in a state where we can't change the governor. We get one moron after the next. It's there's nothing you could do about it. They don't come up any smarter. They always get beaten out. They want the stupid ones in there. The dumber you are, the higher office you get in my state. So I don't know what the point is, man. Seeing drones and cargo ships off the Gulf of America coast at night. Wow. Yeah, that might get a little old, seeing that kind of stuff. Yeah, I don't have any of that going on over here, man. They seem to keep that stuff in Nevada. They don't bring it back down to California. Yeah, so live in a country with the two parties, the same crap. Hey, we do too. Don't feel bad. Okay. I think Canada's in the same boat as us too. We got one moron party and the other moron party. They have moron one and moron two. You know what I mean? Ohio has Bigfoot. Nice. Oh, to watch through the window. Nice. Yeah, well, not for long the way they want to do it. In the state that I'm in, it feels like you don't. I can tell you that. Wow. Making the plasma show one, huh? Interesting. Yeah, I don't get involved in that either. Yeah, I don't need any of that on my computer. Building those things. I get the wrong idea. Yeah, I made a couple of those myself. You don't even need the rest of the parts, really. You just need a spark gap and then, the module, and then very little power, actually. And you can make one of those very easily. Yeah, very, very easily. Yeah. Don't mess around with that stuff, man. I can make a monster railgun if I wanted to, but I would get arrested right away. Yeah, California doesn't have too much tolerance for anything like that. But with what I know about coiling and stuff, man, it'd be easy to make one that just launched everything. It kind of put my brother's blow dart to shame. He used to take pipes when you're young, take a nail, wrap paper around the nail, tape it a little bit, and then you could go and blow dart it. Yeah, I got one of those stuck in my arm one day. That was fun. Huh. Oh yeah, they can. Those things are bad, man. They're bad all day for the environment. I haven't seen what beepers can do. No, um, I have not. I know how to create some crazy stuff and get us all in trouble. That's for sure. I seen one person use that above my house, and I don't know. I guess I didn't pay no mind to it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of flew around for a little bit. Probably some kid. I tried to buy one of those little helicopters and they didn't work very well. It was a little cheapy $10 one. Probably why. Always just fell over. Yeah. They don't make some of those parts real good. I was doing a drone and I got 24-volt motors on it. So the thing will lift like crazy, right? But I didn't like the controller because you couldn't plug it into your computer for too long or else it fries. It was a real piece of junk. And they're not cheap either. So, yeah, that sucked, man. That kind of took away a lot of the fun out of the project. But it was a 3D printed thing, so you can make it whatever you want it to look like in the 3D print. But yeah, it was kind of poo when it came to the parts that you had to buy and stuff like that. I didn't care for that at all. Crazy what we do, man, in our free time. Yeah, your drone's awesome, man. I've seen your channel. That thing's amazing. You got the little UFO one, and I've seen the airplane. All right, guys, it's been about 2 hours, man. I'm going to take off. We had some awesome videos today from Dollar. We also got to see another video. So if you guys liked his work, man, I put his channel in the description, and maybe we can all figure out what he's doing over there and give him some help and get it straightened out. So with that said, guys, man, thank you very much for watching today. I really do appreciate it. I want to say thank you to ADX for hooking me up. And then with the 5 Old Man Build memberships, man, and Ulysses, man, right on, brother. And then, guys, we'll have out that coil, man. Hopefully here real soon. I'll be able to all I have to do is epoxy it. So basically take an hour and work the epoxy and put it on it, leave it on the rotating machine and call it a day. So I should be able to put that out in the next day. So, and then we'll just wait a couple days, let it harden up, and then fire it up. I want to see if we can fire it on Friday and see if it works or blows up, one or the other. So with that said, guys, thank you very much. Have yourself a great day. I appreciate everything.
The old man built. The old man built. The old man built. The old man builds. The old man builds is broken in the head. People not seeing reality has put them in the red. Where conscious and spirituality restricted from the norm and replaced with the ignorance of basic magnetic form. The geometry of God keeps running through his head. That's what makes old man builds broken in the head. The old man builds. The old man builds. Spheres of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. The old man builds. Fears of destiny are spinning in his mind, making him travel back and forth in time, battling the establishment for just a little recognition. Has him forcing the world to understand his premonition. That world will have all the technology in the end, even if it means his life will fail to extend. The old man builds.